How many galleries have you been in?
I'm in 3 galleries at the moment.
Artist George Widener could spend countless hours happily counting.
January 5, 12, 19, 26, February 2, 9, 16, 20.
And counting.
51, 52, 52, 4, 30, 21.
And counting.
24, 25,
You get the idea.
22, 29, so on.
His art is awash in numbers and dates and days. And so is his head.
If you look at August of 1968, August 7, 14, 21, 28 are Wednesdays.
Pardon? George is what's known as a calendar savant. What exactly is a calendar savant? Savant expert Dr. Daryl Treffert.
Calendar savants are able to identify what day of the week will a particular date fall on in the past or in the future.
Your theory is that this is just pre-wired at the factory, if you will.
Factory installed?
Factory installed ability.
Yes.
Most of us need Google. George needs a few seconds. Let me throw a few dates at you here.
All right.
His skill is so remarkable, you really do have to see it to believe it. December 2nd, 2018.
December 2nd, 2018 is a Sunday.
January 3rd, 2015.
January 3rd, 2015 looks like a Saturday.
Valentine's Day, 1956.
Tuesday.
That's my sister's birthday. Okay. When is Christmas next on Wednesday?
2019 looks like, yeah.
You haven't missed one yet.
No.
We moved on to the celebrity bonus round. Elvis died August 16th, 1977.
And that was a Tuesday.
And Luciano Pavarotti was born October 12th, 1935.
October 12th, 35 is a Saturday. Yeah.
President Lincoln, February 12th, 1809.
Looks like a Sunday.
Indeed. Now, when George produces a date, is this a conscious thought?
That's intuitive. He doesn't need to think about it. It appears.
George is a high-functioning savant, able to live independently, and he is doing quite well.
I love doing this stuff. It's
You clearly love doing this stuff. At the Manhattan Gallery where we met him, his art sells quickly for tens of thousands of dollars. But George seems happiest about something far more fundamental.
It's been wonderful that I've been able to use, you know, what's inside of me and to feel like I have a useful purpose.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Donna.
Coming up, how smart are they?
Meet Daisy. We love our pets. Often so much it's easy to be convinced they're lost in profound, important thought. So just what are they thinking? We asked our resident animal lover, Martha Teichner, to investigate.
Fenway, the Boston Terrier, is trying to figure out how to get at the treat hidden inside this puzzle. What's going on in his mind? If somebody asks you, is my dog smart like a human is smart, how do you answer that question? I mean, what's involved there?
It's not fair or even correct to compare dog intelligence to human intelligence. The real question is, what is a dog good at?
Hey, Truffles.
About 7 years ago, Dr. Gregory Burns, a neuroscientist at Emory University, had an idea. If he could train dogs to hold still in an MRI, a big if, he could get some answers. Truffles here is living proof it can be done. She's one of more than 100 dogs who've taken part in MRI experiments involving everything from facial recognition to self-control. Truffles is being shown 2 toys and knows giraffe means treat, whale, no treat. But what about photographs of the toys?
That's what we're looking for, activity in that location.
That's the reward center of the brain, right where it is in humans. The point? To find out if Truffles reacts to the toys and the photos in the same way.
Get it, Truff, get it. There we go. Good girl.
This is another dog's scan.
It's too soon to say because this is just one dog, but what that tells me is they're not literally seeing the two equivalently. They seem to know that.
One is a photograph and one is real.
Right.
Oh, yum. Ooh. Not to be outdone by a dog.
Hi, Donna.
Donna, a 34-year-old African elephant at the Oakland, California Zoo, makes the connection between a picture of a banana her trainer shows her and the real thing.
That's important because if you can imagine an object in your mind, that means you can think about that object and plan around that object. Does Donna understand that that picture of the banana represents a real banana? Because that means that she can imagine that in her mind.
Caitlin O'Connell Rodwell is an animal communication expert who studies elephants and teaches at Stanford University.
The elephant has the largest brain per body size, bigger than the human. If size matters, and it does appear that size matters, then elephants could possibly be smarter than us. Elephants are so much like us. Watching them caring about each other, watching their politics.
Elephant politics?
Oh yes, elephant politics.
Donna, move in.
As for communication, elephants understand us better than we understand them.
Donna, foot.
Behaviors Donna was taught to aid in her own care led to the banana test.
That's what's so exciting about these cognitive experiments with Donna is that we can now ask her a lot of different questions. Donna understands English.
Yeah, you're a real treat machine.
So there's probably a lot more that she understands about language than we've figured out how to ask her.
Thanks to technology, researchers are beginning to decipher dolphin language, the chirps and clicks that come from their blowholes.
We looked at how mothers would retrieve their calves, which we can ask them to do on cue.
Jill Richardson is a scientist at the University of Miami's Rosenstiel School of Marine and Atmospheric Science. Her work at the Dolphins Plus Sanctuary in Key Largo, Florida, has involved identifying each individual's signature whistle, which is like its name. This is underwater.
Yes. So you see the hand, the cue that the trainer's giving, and Ding is emitting a call.
A variation of the mother's own signature whistle.
And then baby comes back. It's like a mom in a room saying, like, Jill, Lauren, come for dinner. And then the calf responds immediately.
It's like having the first and last name.
Exactly. My kids always know they're in bigger trouble when I use the first and last name. I really think we're scratching the surface. We know they're chatty. The next step really with their communication is learning how they might string acoustic signals together in different ways to have different meanings, like syntax.
Do dolphins speak in sentences? These dolphins obey more than 50 commands. But now watch. This hand signal means create. Do whatever you want.
We will.
What have the dolphins taught you about humans?
Oh, gosh. I think the most important thing is that maybe we're not as smart as we think we are, and that it's definitely opened my eyes to how we put some constraints on our understanding of intelligence when it might be this much more colorful and broad experience for these animals.
Intelligence we underestimate because we don't know any better.
Next,
it became obvious to me that we have to talk about it.
actress Glenn Close, changing minds about mental illness. When it comes to changing minds about mental illness and ending its stigma, few people are more motivated than actress Glenn Close. She's been talking to Tracy Smith.
You have to be discreet.
Oh, God, yeah.
Are you?
Am I what?
Discreet.
Your role in Fatal Attraction is one of your most memorable roles.
Yes, and Alex Forrest is considered one of the great villains of all time, of the 20th century.
But I'm gonna tell you it's gonna stop right now.
No, it's not going to stop. It's going to go on and on until you face up to your responsibilities.
What responsibilities?
In that 1987 blockbuster, actress Glenn Close portrayed a woman
You
scorned.
won't answer my calls. You change your number. I mean, I'm not going to be ignored, Dad.
After an affair with a married man, played by Michael Douglas.
Looking back on that role now, what do you think?
I'm always amazed that when I was researching that role, that no one brought up the idea that she might have a mental disorder.
No one said
or
that
that
to
she
you.
might have a behavior triggered by something in her past. I think if I was offered that script today, I would certainly look at it from a totally different point of view.
That's because today, Glenn Close knows something she didn't back then, that mental illness runs in her own family. Her nephew, Kalen, has schizophrenia, and Glenn's sister, Jessie, has bipolar disorder.
How long did you struggle with mental illness before you were diagnosed?
My whole life, till I was diagnosed at 50.
Why do you think it took that long?
It wasn't taken seriously, and I lived a very fast and wild life, so nobody suspected anything.
They just attributed it to
me. That's how I was. I'd stay up for 2 nights, and then I would think I need at least a few hours sleep on the 3rd night, which of course kicks in depression. And depression for me was beyond blackness. It was wanting to die. I had this voice in my head that would just not leave me alone.
Saying,
kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, over and over and over.
In 2003, a frightened Jessie confided her suicidal thoughts to her sister, and they got help.
How close do you think you were to losing her?
Very close. I never knew how close. Many people who live with bipolar disorder have deaths by suicide.
The sisters say Jessie's treatment was successful because Jessie wanted help, but they also say far too many people are still suffering in silence.
Then when I became an advocate, I realized that it is a family affair for 1 in 4 of us.
1 in 4?
Yes, is touched in some way by mental illness. So it became obvious to me that we have to talk about it.
Change your mind about mental illness, and you can change a life.
That thinking led Glenn and Jessie to start a foundation in 2010. Bring Change to Mind creates multimedia campaigns and holds events to get people to talk about mental health.
Luckily, I've had the support of family and friends to help me live a full life.
It's time to talk about mental illness. Start the conversation. To let those that might feel marginalized or silenced by stigma to become part of a group and accepted will save lives. Period.
Do you think you're saving lives?
Yes. We have a very, very wonderfully active community on Bring Change to Mind and our whole social network. And you come into a community of people that have lived with what you were living with and understand what you're going through.
A very, very warm welcome for Glenn Close.
Bring Change to Mind also focuses on college and high school students, the age group with the highest prevalence of mental illness, and the subject of recent headlines.
It seems like we usually hear about mental illness when it's connected with violence, the school shooting in Florida.
Yeah.
Does that present an accurate picture?
No. The biggest majority of people living with mental illness are more preyed upon than preying upon. But it does seem to be that somebody who does one of these terrible acts is suffering from some sort of mental disorder.
The answer, she says, is more reliable funding for mental health care and maybe a little more care for each other.
A lot of times, a lot of isolation goes on, which is dangerous. You know, be aware of how connected we truly are. And if one connection is broken, there can be terrible repercussions. So we can't afford to ignore and to think it's somebody else's problem anymore.
Glenn Close and her sister Jessie say they'll keep working until mental illness is seen as just what it is, another part of being human.
I never got bunches of roses when I got home from the hospital. If I had had a heart operation, I'm sure all my friends would have been there with food and flowers. And people behaving strangely or badly is not considered an illness.
But it is.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's just an illness, for goodness sakes.